Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for High Velocity Radio.
Welcome to the High Velocity Radio Show, where we celebrate top performers producing better results in less time. Stone Payton here with you this afternoon. You guys are in for a real treat. Please join me in welcoming to the broadcast, first up on the High Velocity Radio Show today, with Connector Technologies, Mr. Steve Eppinger. How are you, man?
I'm doing great, Stone. How are you?
I am doing well. I should have said welcome back to the Business Radio X microphone. It's been a minute. I think we decided maybe close to 20 years, but this is not your first rodeo, is it?
It is not. 2 decades since I've been in this studio, or new studio, I guess. But yeah, it's good to be back.
So what are you up to these days? How are you trying to help folks, and who exactly are you trying to serve?
It's called Connector, and the genesis of it, believe it or not, is jury duty.
Oh my, got to hear this story.
Sitting in jury duty a couple of years ago, and I'm kind of an extrovert, in case you can't tell, and looking for a way to find people that I could connect with, people that went to the same school, fraternity, whatever. And I figured, I'll fire up the networking app that we all know. Don't think I want to say it here. Did not have that ability. I said, there must be an app out there that can find people I know that are around me. Didn't exist. So being an entrepreneur, I decided to build it.
So what are you finding? How long have you had this thing out?
It's been available for about 4 months now. Okay. But we've been working on it a little over a year.
So what are you finding the most rewarding about that work? What's the most fun about it for you at this stage?
Disruption. Current state of networking, a lot of spam, a lot of just unvaluable connection opportunities. And with the Connector app, we are looking to connect people on common interests. So say, for instance, there's someone that grew up in your hometown that's nearby you. Say you find someone that's in your fraternity. These commonalities that create genuine opportunities to connect with people. That's what the Connector app looks to uncover.
So it sounds marvelous to me on a cocktail napkin as we're having a beer. Sounds like a fun project, but I got to believe there's a pretty huge gap between the cocktail napkin and getting this thing up and out. Tell us a little bit about that journey, how you got it funded, how you got enough people to embrace it and give you the steam you needed.
Yeah, it's a good story. I'm actually, one of my good friends, Steve Rozeboom, is with us here. And, I've known him for nearly 20 years. Our kids grew up together, and, he's been generous enough to be one of my advisors and investors.
Oh my.
And with that, he actually brought an absolutely amazing opportunity that we'll talk about a little bit more today with a group called No Longer Bound.
Oh, fun. Okay, Steve, I got to know, what compelled you to pull the trigger on this thing and actually invest money in it?
Well, thank you for having me today, Stone. Steve twisted my arm really hard.
No. He played the friend card, didn't he?
Yeah, a little bit. No.
Your kid spent the night in my house.
Exactly. Would you like to invest in my? Absolutely.
Not going to put the Viking games on.
Yeah, we didn't do any of that. It was interesting when I started talking to Steve about it. He explained the business side of it, like he just did. It's certain other apps out there just don't provide the filtering, and they don't provide the connection that we need. We were coming, few years post COVID, and it was such a great disruptor in the connections that we had, right? I mean, during COVID, it was all about disconnection. And so when he came out with this app a few years later, I thought, man, this is a perfect way for people to kind of come back together again without having to really be in person in mass, right? And so I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool to know, like, I'm spending a lot of time in airports, if my friend was 2 gates over, or if a friend of mine was, somewhere else in the airport, we can say, hey, let's meet up and have something to eat. And so that in itself, I thought, wow, that's a great networking opportunity. Yeah. But then I went right to the AA and the recovery side of things. And I looked at, I have 20 years of sobriety. And so the app to me said, why can't we use this to keep in touch with our brothers in recovery? And so, Steve was like, it's mostly a business app, but yeah, why couldn't we? And so we actually set up a separate group in Connector, and we have all the guys from No Longer Bound, and we kind of keep up with each other. And when we see somebody nearby, we say, "Hey, I'm just down the street. Let's have a cup of coffee." If any of the guys feel squirrely, they can get on the app and see who's close by. We don't do this yet, but if somebody ends up in the Bluffs where they used to buy all their drugs, then it needs to beep. No. Warning. But
so let's get, before we, I am fascinated with this. I want to learn all about how it works, where it works, the best way to leverage it. But let's get the backstory on you. How did you land in this role of doing what you do for the folks you do it?
Sure. When you get sober in AA, there's AA meetings everywhere. I mean, you can find someone anywhere, anytime of day. And the difference between that and some of the parachurch ministries and some of the, recovery programs in town is that they're small. I mean, they turn out 30, 40, 50 people a year. And for those guys to stay connected, it's really tough because you got to be at the No Longer Bound. You got to go back up there to see the guys. There's only one place, one meeting, one way to connect. And with this, they were very excited about the idea to maintain. There's a part in the program when the guys get their phones back, and they're actually just putting Connector on their phones when they get their phones back so that we can all stay in touch.
Wow.
But I started using No Longer Bound and working with them and employing their people. And 60-70% of the people at Specialty, the office furniture company that I own, are in one form or another of long-term recovery. And so we get a lot of guys from No Longer Bound there. And that was my connection to No Longer Bound.
So you own an enterprise and you are clearly neck deep in No Longer Bound.
Yeah, that's it's a ministry opportunity that I'm involved in. And, in AA, you want to stay sober, you got to give it away. And there's a lot of great people up there, and I subscribe to their way of doing it. They're supported by North Point, and it's a great ministry, great group of people. And so, I'm grateful to Steve for letting us do it, pro bono, basically. We've been able to test the thing and get a lot of people in it, and it's worked out really well. So.
Well, I got to believe having you test it with a real group like that probably helped you refine the product, the approach, the sales and the marketing, the whole bit, right, Steve?
Yeah, it absolutely has. I think I mentioned it before, but Connector conceived as a commercial product, and it still is a commercial product. Steve mentioned airports. We think about airports, convention centers, university campuses, any area where trade shows, where large groups of people gather and there's networking opportunities. And as we talked to No Longer Bound about that and other organizations, it was quite interesting. They use the term alumni and fraternity for people that have graduated from their program. And wow, that's a very eerie parallel to Connector, where one of our markets is fraternities and university alumni. So the idea of turning the app into something for the greater good was really a no-brainer. I'm certainly hoping that No Longer Bound isn't our last. I could see that as the ministry angle for the Connector product. I mean, obviously for the greater good.
So does No Longer Bound kind of have their own sandbox in your world? For example, if we had this thing set up for everybody who's been a Business RadioX guest, right? Because they kind of join the family, then they refer other guests, and they come back on, and sometimes they're clients, that kind of thing. So does No Longer Bound kind of have their sandbox, and Business RadioX has their sandbox, or how's it structured?
It can be structured that way. We have two versions of the app. One's an open network, one's a closed network. Let's say a closed network, you are the Coca-Cola company, to take an example of a large corporation
I've heard
in the Atlanta area. Yeah, good, solid product. If they wanted to create a school. If I wanted to a company alumni network and only show people that are current employees or former employees of Coca-Cola, very easy for us to do. No Longer Bound actually wanted their people on an open network, so they can foster networking opportunities outside of just members of No Longer Bound. But with that said, the app is branded for No Longer Bound. And there's a visual indicator, and you can filter for just people that happen to be nearby me that are from No Longer Bound.
So the revenue model, if you don't mind, share, how do you make money with this thing?
It is ad-based. So the more eyeballs, the more users we have, that's how we make money. That's currently, I think, longer term. There's licensing opportunities and
So getting it off the ground, getting a critical mass of people using it, sounds like Steve helped, right?
He did. Yes.
Is that one of the biggest challenges in getting technology to be commercially viable?
Yeah, absolutely the biggest challenge. With any product, trying to go after one person at a time to use your product is difficult. So you have to look at where are the larger audiences, where are the groups of people. No Longer Bound has added a number of people to the network. My fraternity, Sigma Phi Epsilon, because I'm a member, my son is a member and a recent graduate of South Carolina, go Gamecocks. He's been instrumental in getting his brothers to test the app. So we have several hundred SIG apps out there that are using it. We did our first trade show event back in August in Las Vegas, an event called the Mopar Vendor Expo. That added a few hundred people to the network. So that's kind of the phase we're in right now is let's get some trade shows using it. Let's get some fraternities using it. Let's get some university alumni groups using it. And that's ultimately how we're going to build the network.
Both of you are obviously successful entrepreneurs, successful established business people that have been out there helping people, doing a lot of good for a long time. So I'm going to ask this question of both of you. I'm going to start with you, Eppinger. Have you had the benefit of one or more mentors in this space or a similar space that kind of helped you navigate the terrain along the way when you jumped into this arena?
Yeah, there's a number of people. I've always subscribed to the philosophy of surround yourself with smart people that will prevent you from getting arrested. So having been an entrepreneur for most of my life, and I actually had a 12X exit back in 2008 when the economy was just horrible, you come to the realization that things like human resources and legal and accounting, find good people to help you with that, find mentors to guide you down that path. But also, finding the opportunities out there, you always have to surround yourself with good people.
And now you find yourself mentoring others, I'm sure, on a variety of topics and issues.
Yeah. And that's if I fast forward my life 10, 15 years from now, I might be dead 10, 15 years. Just give you insight into how old I am. That's what I would love to do full time. I would love to maybe be on an advisory board for 20 different startups around the world and just lend my knowledge. That to me is the dream job.
All right, Rozeboom. So the organization that you head up is Specialty. Am I remembering that right?
That's correct.
Tell us a little bit more about that organization, how you got it off the ground, and then I'm going to swing back around to you on this mentor question too.
Yeah, sure. I started working there in about 18 years ago, and came to work there with my dad. Worked for him for a few years, and then ended up buying the company from him and sending him off to retirement. And since then, we've experienced tremendous growth. But when I came back to work with my dad, he said, I guess when I came back to work with him, I had 2 years sobriety. And he said to me, don't steal my stuff. Don't lie to me. Don't use. And if you do, come resign because I don't have the heart to let you go. And so I've been telling guys that ever since that day. And like 70% of our workforce is people in long-term recovery.
Really?
And,
oh man,
it's a great business. We make office furniture. We make tables. I have a factory in Bulgaria, just outside of Sofia. And, even over there, we're very mission focused there as well. The gypsies over there, the underprivileged class. And so we hire from the gypsy community and, we bring them in and train them and give them a job where most people would not do that. So we try and stay focused on the real mission. I always say tables fund the mission. And so we make office furniture.
I feel so bad being the greedy capitalist here at the table.
Yeah, really.
Steven.
Not to say we don't have good margins. I mean,
well, my instincts are that a lot of listeners would feel the same way because initially that feels to me like you're taking quite a risk to put the future of your business in the hands of folks that have met with some challenges and don't have, at least in their immediate past, a great track record of doing all the things you want a good, strong team to do. But I get the very distinct sense that it hasn't come back to bite you. If nothing else, on the contrary, on the other side of that, I wonder if you just don't have even more loyal employees, more dedicated to you, more dedicated to the mission than the traditional. Yes, is that true?
100%. Those guys would run through a wall for the company. Wow. And, they have to have close to a year of sobriety to come in there, but our focus is really on restoring dignity, and I remember the time when my wife's looking at me changed when I had been working for a period of time and I had been saving some money and I was, being the man that I should have been. And that's been our focus at Specialty all along, is helping these young guys, get their life started again and gain some respect in the community. So we're not about getting them sober there. We're about keeping them sober and teaching them how to live sober.
So, I mean, mentoring has to be so heavily interlaced in your everyday life. But speak to mentoring, being a mentee, being a mentor, a little bit from your experience on both sides of the table.
Yeah, I do spend a lot of time doing that, but it's through a group. So I'm in a roundtable CEO group, and it's like-minded CEOs, spiritually based program. And so we do a lot of work with each other in there. A lot of that mentoring happens in there, as far as other business guys. But at in the office, of course, we're working with those young guys all day. And it's, I had a meeting. We had an AA style meeting at our office at noon. So 12 to 1 every Thursday. And it's open for anybody, but yeah, mostly for the people who work there. So yeah, we do what we can.
Well, you've got so much going for you, but I'm going to ask anyway, what do you need next? What do you need more of, less of? How can we help?
Man, you can buy more office furniture at specialty.net. That always funds the mission.
Yeah.
But other than that, when we always ask people, when you know somebody who is in recovery, who needs a job, give us a call. We're always hiring. We're always sending people back into their original careers. Business school would tell you that turnover is the death of any company, but for us, we're proud of turnover. Those guys mean that they've got back to where they are. They put their life back together and they go back to construction estimating or whatever they used to do before. Yeah. And so when they leave, we celebrate it. The guys in the back already have 3 or 4 guys lined up to come in without me even having to go recruit. So they bring in the next guy, they train them up, and I don't have to worry about a lot of training. They want to see them succeed, and it's a perpetuating program.
So talk about a day in the life of Steve Rozeboom. It's got to be a lot of variety, but what's on your calendar week in and week out usually?
Oh, man. Where do I begin? It's the last few years have been really hard in the office furniture business. It's like restaurants during COVID.
So COVID really did have a negative impact.
Sure. 30% of the workforce went home.
Wow.
Which, that another reason for Connector. We're at home, we're running around. Some people work at home. I mean, you just don't see them. And so being able to get everybody together, on that is great. But a day in the life, man, just sell and sell and sell. And that's what we do.
On every front, though. Yeah, you're selling the furniture, but you're also selling the program, the whole bit.
Yeah, that's just, I don't know how you put that. That's just a lifestyle for me.
Right.
That's my lifestyle. So it's not really a chore. It's not really work. It's just, that's how we live. We surround ourselves with each other and we're with each other all day.
So let's dive into the nuts and bolts of this. Is app the right word?
Sure, we'll call it an app.
I don't want to diminish what it is. I'm a techno idiot, but
I'm not the least bit offended. I refer to it as the Connector app.
The Connector app. Yeah. Let's dive into the nuts and bolts, and we can walk through an existing use case, or if you want to, walk through Stone getting on the app and utilizing it. But I would really want to kind of paint the picture for folks.
Paint the picture. There are 500 million users of LinkedIn. There, I used the actual app name.
That's right. I can fix it in post.
No, I want that in there.
Oh, okay.
And the growing dissatisfaction with the use of that app is just off the charts right now. It was conceived as a way for people to network, but it has grown into social media and gaming and just things that they've drifted away from their primary purpose. Connector provides a better way for people to not just find new connections, but stay connected with existing connections. If you talk to an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, they'll use Snapchat, and there's a feature in there called the Snap Map, which will tell them, hey, my friends are nearby. So that doesn't exist in the business world. Well, it does now because it's built into Connector. Connector will tell you if, let's say, you're at a trade show and you connected with someone 6 months ago at the Sky Club when you were traveling. And why did I connect with this person? Oh, I connected with them at the SEMA show. And then 6 months later, I'm at another show. Hey, Stone's at this show. I should send him a chat and maybe we can connect. It's creating those genuine kind of meetup connection opportunities. That's the underlying purpose for Connector.
I all kinds of use cases are flying around in my mind, and I'm being a little bit selfish at the moment. But I mentioned earlier, like when guests come on Business Radio X, but I could also see having that for guest of one of 257 media properties that we have, High Velocity Radio.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or people in the Cherokee Business Radio X family, or the Business Radio X studio partners who run these studios.
Exactly right. I mean, you think about the primary goal, if you think about it, for fraternities, sororities, trade associations, university alumni groups, is to provide networking opportunities. That's their number one purpose. And then probably to fundraise, number two. But there is no good way on LinkedIn to do it right now. The groups they've set up 15, 20 years ago they're stale. They're not really providing a lot of benefit. So again, to go back to disruption, we want to revolutionize how people network.
So what do you need? Are you taking on more investors? You just want more people on there that are genuinely, that where there is a practical use case for them? What would you, if you could just wave the magic wand?
Yes.
Yes and yes and yes.
Yes. Yes. We are really at a point right now where that we've proven the product works. We've proven there's a market for it. We are starting to do a lot of outbound business development work in all those segments that I mentioned earlier. We are as well looking for funding, and we are building the network. Kind of, like I said, one person at a time is a bit of a challenge, but one show at a time, one fraternity at a time, one alumni association at a time, one trade group at a time. Yeah, that's where we are. Yeah. I would love to come back here in a year and say we have Alcoholics Anonymous using the app. We have No Longer Bound still using the app. We have, Steve has brought to you hear Steve's passion for the non-corporate side of what he does.
Oh yeah, loud and clear.
He's very much a mentor for me in that part of the world, if you will. So when I conceived a Connector, I thought of it 100% as this is a commercial app, and I didn't think we were going to take over the world. It'd be nice to take over the world. I'd love to have an office in Italy. That would be pretty cool. Yeah.
We have a prospect over there, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Let's go.
Actually, Barcelona. My way of thinking has changed over the last few months as we've started to work with No Longer Bound. Is hey, there needs to be a segment of this company and this product dedicated to the greater good. And whether that is addiction counseling or any segment that would need the product, we're all in on that.
Well, I look forward to diving more into that a year from now or earlier at the on-site broadcast in Barcelona. And so I'm looking forward to putting that whole thing together.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. We'll have a studio for you.
Great. Yeah. So how are you, and I'm sure the answer is that it's evolving, but I'm going to ask anyway, what is the whole sales and marketing thing like for a company like is there this structured, disciplined thing, or are you just out there shaking the tree? How do you get the new signups, the business?
It's guerrilla marketing right now, to be honest with
really?
you. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Right now, Connector isn't a 100% full-time gig for me right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's a startup mode. We're just coming out of stealth, I guess, with the announcement with No Longer Bound. So a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails, a lot of posts on message boards, and just trying to connect with as many people as I can to get the story out there.
Yeah, just doing the
work.
So
if you have any connections in the fraternity space, alumni associations, trade groups, be happy to hear about them.
Well, and I will try, and partially because I'm a good guy that wants to see you do well, but I got to tell you, one of the things I love about doing this kind of work is, at least here locally, but on the national scale to some degree, because I'm part of the larger network, I'm the guy that knows the guy. And I think a lot of us are this way. I take great pride in get some form of non-monetary compensation, I guess, from being the guy that hooked you up and found Steve over here, Rozeboom, what he needed. I like being so, yeah.
Well, I talk about the big groups with hundreds of thousands of people that belong to them, but I think you touched on it. Chambers of commerce. Right? You've got 10,000 businesses in North Fulton County. We're based in Roswell. 10,000 businesses for the North Fulton Chamber of Commerce. Their primary purpose is networking as well. So why not a dedicated version of the app for them?
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. We got to make that happen.
Yeah. Another one of my advisors, he's an actual organ donor. And he said, there's a whole network of organ donors out here. And one of the cool things about Connector is we help connect you on a number of different factors. It could be the industry you work in. could be where you grew up, where you went to school, but also on interests and affiliations. So if we all went to the same church, wouldn't it be really cool if you were on a business trip to Las Vegas and you're like, oh, there's someone from Woodstock Baptist Church in the Sky Club with me. I'm going to send them a chat.
Or I'm going to make sure they don't see me.
Well, exactly.
You can use it, whatever's going to benefit you, right?
Could go either way. Now, the beauty of Connector is we have a lot of privacy tools built into that for just that use case. If you do want to hide where you are, Las Vegas probably being a good example of where you might want to hide.
You wouldn't have known this, but you struck a very real and emotional chord for me with the organ donor thing. My wife, Holly, about 18 months ago, donated a kidney. Her best friend growing up needed a kidney. They weren't a match, but in the system, if she would give a kidney, it brought her friend, Mary, up the chain enough to where she got hers. But we've had a handful of people through whatever organization helped make all that happen. I just have a conversation with Holly. And I can remember before Holly donated the kidney, her having conversations with other donors, to help her prepare and that kind of thing. And it was invaluable.
Absolutely. And that speaks to Connector and making genuine connections with people.
Yeah.
But what I say is that, you're not, every person you connect with isn't going to be that home run, multi-million-dollar business opportunity.
Right.
But it's someone that you have something in common with and someone you'll probably continue to speak with. And if your goal is 100% business networking, you will find an opportunity from that connection that you made. And it might be 3 connections down the road, but hey, I remember talking to Holly. I remember talking to Stone. Oh, you should talk to this person. But that initial conversation may have never taken place if you didn't know they were nearby or that they went to the same school or grew up in the same town or both loved Italian wine.
You struck another chord. You hit Italian wine.
That one.
So, Eppinger, I'm calling one Eppinger and one Rozeboom because they're both named Steve.
Easiest way, yeah.
And I'm going to ask you this too, Steve, number 2. But I don't know when or how you'd find the time. But passions outside the scope of the work that we're talking about. But my listeners know that I like to hunt, fish, and travel. And I was sharing with you some of our community partner work and how I've conveniently found a way to fold it into hunt, fish, and travel. Yeah. Anything you have a tendency to nerd out about outside the scope of this kind of work right now? Or are you just neck deep?
Honestly, when I go into full entrepreneur mode, I put 110% of my heart, soul, and attention into that. I would say 6 months ago, I wanted Connector to be successful. When we announced the No Longer Bound partnership, I wanted this thing to rule the world. And I don't mean financially. I mean, I want Connector to have an impact on how people connect and network and stay connected. And that doesn't necessarily mean being $1 billion company, but having a positive impact.
Fantastic. And the answer may be similar to you. You got so much going on. You have this whole passion with No Longer Bound, but I'll ask.
Like, what do you mean? Like, how much time do I have to pursue my passions? Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's interesting. Sometimes when you ask that question, somebody, they're a square dance instructor or something. You just don't ever know. It's often an interesting question.
I turned Steve into a car enthusiast.
Yes, he did. He taught me how to buy high end cars at good prices.
Yeah, used cars.
We're ready now.
All right, so you guys do have that.
We do that.
I don't know if we kept digging, we'd find something.
But when you say, how much free time do you have, or how do you work your passion? My passion is interwoven into my business.
Yeah, I can tell.
And so, going to work for me is it's great. I get to hang out with all the guys, and we have a good time, and we cut up, and it's great. I don't have a big affinity for office furniture or tables. It's been paying the bills for my entire life, but
right.
At the end of the day, like I say, it funds the mission. Yeah, we get to hang out together and stay sober together. It's great.
I think we both have an affinity for family as well.
Yeah.
My son just got his first job. He works from home. My wife works from home. I work from home. And I feel so blessed to be able to spend so much time with them. So even when I'm working on Connector,
right,
I'm still with my family.
Oh.
So that helps drive me as well.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I'd love to, before we wrap, if we could leave our listeners with a little something to chew on, nibble on. I call it kind of a walk away thought. And if I'd have been on top of my game before we went on the air, I would have shared with you guys, hey, I'm going to ask you for a walk away thought. And then you'd have like this well-crafted 300-word essay. And I'll start with you, Rozeboom, first. But if there was just a little something that if someone heard this, saw something about No Longer Bound, walked into a thrift shop, struggling with addiction, whatever it was, if you could just like leave something that you felt like might stick with them a little bit, what might a thought or an idea might be you'd leave them with?
Go. Get help now. I mean, if people are thinking about that, life isn't as boring on the other side of things as they think it is. You know, we have a heck of a lot of fun. You know, the relationships I've never had before, brothers I've never had before. I just say, don't be afraid. Just go, just go do it. Get sober, and come work with us.
Yeah.
I mean, we're a great group of guys. We have a good time staying sober together and figuring out how to do life together.
Oh, fantastic.
Yep.
See?
Now Stone turns to Steve Eppinger for the commercial pitch.
That's right. Give me the business side.
There you go.
Stark contrast to that. I would say if you're one of the 500 million LinkedIn users out there and you're dissatisfied with all the spam that you're getting and irrelevant connection requests, go to the App Store or Google Play, search for the Connector app, or go to connectorapp.co, not .com, .co. Download the app and try it out. And that obviously helps build our network to ultimately fund the mission of helping people like Steve and No Longer Bound and, kind of helping the greater good.
Great. And color me there. I am definitely going to do that.
Let me go ahead and give the close the deal part here.
Please.
So if you are a trade show manager, an event manager, responsible for huge groups of people that need to stay in touch, call Steve.
Leadership in a fraternity or a sorority.
Just huge groups.
On a chamber of commerce, anywhere that you think there's better ways for your group to network, reach out, please.
There's nothing like it.
I love the chamber idea. One of our studios is in a chamber. Most of our studios have some kind of strategic alliance with their local community chamber. I love that idea, but they all sound. I interrupted you. Go ahead.
I forgot that because I'm not in this world, but Kiwanis, Lions,
Rotary
service, Rotary service organizations, they exist to network. They exist to help each other. So
people don't seem to think of it, but I'd get on the Connector app and say, hey, do you guys know anybody who does office furniture? We're moving.
Yeah.
I mean, that's simple.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. That's an interesting idea. My late father-in-law was Grand Poobah of some region of the Rotary. And I can imagine. So you go to Rotary lunch every week here in Woodstock and you find yourself in Dallas and you start looking up and see if anybody in the Rotaries. What a great application.
Or you probably don't know everybody in your chapter. So what if you were to tell the Connector app, hey, let me know when someone from Rotary in the automotive industry is nearby me.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Why not? Yeah.
Perfect. Coordinates for No Longer Bound, coordinates for the company. Let's make sure that we have that information. I'll swing back around you one more time too.
So how do you find No Longer Bound?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I would go to nolongerbound.com.
Okay.
And check out the program. Quick call up there. They'll tell you how many beds they got left and you can get in.
.com? .org.
.org. Sorry.
I think it might be
It is .org.
NoLongerBound.org.
It's important that you travel together. You got to watch each other.
Just want to make sure.
And
well, after raising these kids, it's like she's got about 3/4 of her brain left. I got about 3/4, and between the two of us,
And then for those of us that may not need those services, there are these thrift stores that help support that as well, right?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, a lot of good stuff in there, and every bit of profit from those thrift stores goes right back into No Longer Bound to support the scholarship programs for guys who can't afford to be there.
Oh, very nice.
It is .com.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
It's
okay.
Thanks.
How much post-show editing am I going to have to do here?
Let me see.
You know what? I'm not going to do any. I'm going to let it roll.
Start over. No, just
want to make sure.
That's funny.
And if you need office furniture, it's specialty.net.
Okay. Yep. Good stuff. All right, Eppinger, one more time, coordinates for you and your work.
Google Play or the App Store, search for the Connector app, or go to connectorapp.co, not .com, .co.
Well, gentlemen, it has been an absolute delight having you in the studio this afternoon. I'm quite sincere, and you know this, Steve, saying that I'd love to have you back. Keep us updated on your work. Both of you, the work you're doing is having such a tremendous impact on so many, and we sure appreciate you.
Thanks a lot, Stone. Thanks for having us.
My pleasure. All right, until next time, this is Stone Payton for our guest today and everyone here at the Business Radio X family saying we'll see you in the fast lane.